Welcome. You're tuned into Tangled Threads. If you're digging our content, hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you. Hey Reddit, Ben here. It's about my wife Alice, and something I saw that's just eating me up inside. Alice and I, we've been the dream team for years. Met in college, hit it off instantly, you know how it goes. Love, marriage, a kid, the whole 9 yards. She's been my rock and I thought I was hers. But life has a funny way of throwing curveballs. This all went down at our son's football game. Typical Saturday, except I was swamped with a crisis at work. I'm not the type to miss my kids' stuff, but this was unavoidable. I told Alice I couldn't make it, and she was cool about it. Said she'd take lots of pictures. Everyone understands, right? Wrong. After dousing the fire at work, I glanced at the clock. Plenty of time left in the game. Thought I'd surprise them, show up for the second half. So I drove to the field, heart lighter, feeling like Super Dad. The scene was typical, shouting parents, kids running amok. But then, there in the stands, I saw her. Alice. She wasn't cheering or taking pictures. No, she was huddled close with some guy, laughing, touching his arm. My heart sank to my shoes. I mean, who was this dude? An old friend? A cousin? My mind raced with possibilities. None good. I wanted to storm up there, confront them, but I didn't. Call it shock or just plain cowardice. Instead, I hung back, watched the game like a ghost. When it ended, I played the doting dad and husband, acting like I'd just arrived. Alice, she acted normal too, but there was something in her eyes, a flicker of guilt. Maybe. The dinner after the game was an exercise in surreal normalcy. We picked our usual spot, a cozy Italian place we'd been going to for years. The kind of place where the waiters know your order before you say it. But that night, everything felt off. We sat down, and the waiter came over, all smiles. "The usual for you two?" he asked. Alice nodded, forcing a smile. "Yes, please." I just nodded, my mind elsewhere. The waiter, sensing the tension, quickly took our orders and left. Alice started talking about mundane stuff. Work, the weather, a sale at the department store. I responded with nods and half-hearted hmms, but my thoughts were still at the football field, replaying the scene over and over. The food arrived, but it might as well have been cardboard for all I tasted. Alice seemed to be in a similar state, pushing her pasta around her plate more than eating it. "So, how was the game?" I asked, trying to sound casual. She perked up a bit at that. "Oh, it was good. Jamie scored a goal. You should have seen it. He was so happy." I managed a smile. "That's great. Wish I could have been there." There was a brief silence, filled only by the clinking of cutlery. Then, out of nowhere, Alice said, "You work too much, Ben. You should take more time off." I looked up, surprised by the comment. I know. It's just been busy lately." Another pause, then she added, "It gets lonely, you know, with you always at work." Her words stung, a mix of guilt and suspicion swirling in my gut. I wanted to ask her then and there about the man at the game, but I held back, not wanting to cause a scene. We finished our meal mostly in silence. The waiter brought the check, and I paid without a word. As we walked to the car, I kept replaying the dinner in my mind. Alice's comments, her lack of appetite, the forced conversation. It all felt like a prelude to the confrontation that I knew was inevitable once we got home. We got back from dinner, a meal I barely tasted. Alice was chattering away about this and that, but I wasn't really listening. My mind was stuck on the image of her with that guy at the game. Once we were home and our son was tucked in bed, I knew it was now or never. I sat down on the couch, motioning for Alice to join me. She plopped down, still oblivious to the storm brewing. "Alice," I started, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "We need to talk about what I saw today at the game." She blinked, a deer caught in headlights. "The game? What about it, Ben?" I took a deep breath. "I saw you, Alice, with that man. You were not just chatting. It was intimate." Her eyes darted around the room, avoiding mine. "Oh, that? He's just an old friend, Ben. You're making a mountain out of a molehill." I shook my head, trying to stay calm. "It didn't look like an old friend, Alice. It looked more than that." She huffed, crossing her arms. "You're being ridiculous, Ben. So I can't have male friends now? Is that it? I leaned forward, my voice firm but controlled. It's not about having friends, Alice. It's about respect, honesty. That's what our marriage is supposed to be based on. But what I saw today, it didn't look respectful or honest. She rolled her eyes, an irritated sigh escaping her lips. You're overreacting. It was nothing. Just a chat. You're always so dramatic. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Dramatic? Alice, I saw you. You were more than just chatting. Why can't you be honest with me? She stood up abruptly, her voice rising. Because there's nothing to be honest about. I don't know why I have to explain myself over something so stupid. Her reaction, the defensiveness, the lack of any real explanation, it was all too much. I stood up, my voice calm but resolute. Alice, I can't do this. I saw what I saw. I don't know what's going on with you, but this isn't the marriage I thought we had. She threw her hands up, frustration etched on her face. Fine. You want to throw everything away over some silly misunderstanding? Then be my guest. I looked at her, the woman I thought I knew, and felt a profound sadness. It's not just about today, Alice. It's about trust. And right now, I can't trust you. She scoffed, shaking her head. Trust? You're one to talk about trust, spying on me like some detective. I sighed, feeling a weight lift off my chest even amidst the pain. I think it's best if we consider a separation. For both of us. Alice stared at me, her expression a mix of anger and disbelief. But I stood my ground, calm and collected, knowing this painful step was necessary for both our sakes. Her reaction said it all. The stammering, the way she couldn't meet my eyes. She tried to brush it off, said he was just an old friend, but I knew. I knew our life. Our marriage was a lie. I'd love to say we talked it out, fixed things, but we didn't. I just couldn't get past it. Trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. We decided to divorce. Hardest decision of my life, but necessary. I'm sharing this because, well, I need to get it off my chest. Also, for anyone out there going through something similar, you're not alone. Life throws you curveballs, but you gotta keep swinging. So that's my story. No fairy tale ending, just a guy trying to make sense of a world turned upside down. Thanks for reading, Reddit. Stay strong. Update. Hey Reddit, it's Ben again. A lot of you asked for an update after my last post about seeing my wife Alice with another man at our son's football game. Well, a lot has happened since then. First off, Alice and I are officially divorced. It was a rough process, not gonna lie. Emotionally draining, and seeing the effect on our son Jamie was the hardest part. But sometimes, you have to go through the storm to reach calmer waters. Here's the big news. I was granted primary custody of Jamie. Never expected that, to be honest. I always thought courts favored the mothers, but I guess things are changing. Maybe it was my steady job, my involvement in Jamie's life, I don't know. Alice gets him every other weekend and some holidays. It's tough on Jamie, but kids are resilient. He's adjusting. Life as a single dad is a whole new ballgame. Juggling work, Jamie's school, and all the day-to-day stuff is like playing life on hard mode. But we're making it work. Jamie's grades are steady, and he's still killing it in football. He scored the winning goal last week. Wish you all could have seen it. As for Alice, well, she's still around, but things are different. There's a distance, an awkwardness that wasn't there before. We try to keep things amicable for Jamie's sake, but it's not easy. Last I heard, she's still seeing that guy from the football game. I've moved past anger mostly. Now it's just a dull kind of sadness. I'm not ready to jump back into dating yet. Focusing on Jamie and rebuilding my life is my priority right now. Maybe someday, but not now. A lot of you sent messages of support last time, and I can't tell you how much that meant to me. This community has been a lifeline in some of my darker moments. So that's where things stand. Life threw a curveball, but we're still in the game. Just taking it one day at a time. Thanks for listening, Reddit. Stay strong. When will these women learn? I can't recall a single story where it ended well for them. I mean, is it that hard to not cheat? Is cheating just human nature? Anyways, let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more Tangled threads.